I get a little down sometimes about everything, like I was yesterday. And then I just kind of rebound with a sarcasticness like I'm doing right now. I bet all you FBI guys and Secret Service guys and military people, I bet you think you're going to be real safe in this system where everybody gets backstabbed. Actually, the military and police people are waking up because they realize this is going to a really bad place. I wonder what's happening to the general public, though. Do they have any idea that it's admitted that Obama ordered the attack on anybody who was pro-freedom with the IRS that's totally beyond Richard Nixon times 1,000? And that now they claim all the emails have been erased now that Congress is forcing the subpoena. IRS loses emails from 6 more involved in targeting in different email systems. And, of course, the head of the environmental grab, she got caught in subpoenas lying about emails and had fake emails. Isn't that just sweet? Isn't that just cute, ladies and gentlemen? Isn't that just special? And the dollar is plunging in value. Price of meat, chicken, fish soars to all-time high on dollar devaluation. And also they've rigged now by getting most of the food produced outside the country. 50 years ago, we could feed the whole world, literally. Now they've scammed the markets, the meat packing so much that they've set it up where you can't produce chicken, turkey, fish farm, fish, beef, and make a living in most cases. It's not very profitable, put it to you that way. If you're an actual producer, unless you're a big agribusiness, they're given all the loopholes and tax exemptions and all the taxpayer money. The little guy doesn't get all that, the corporate welfare. And so as most of the ranchers shut down and the small chicken producers shut down, you're going to find out what it's like, and I hope everybody enjoys it. But on top of all of that, because, we don't want that freeloader Bundy, whose family's been on that land since 1877, 1878, 6 generations, 7 generations. They've run out all the other 30-something ranching families that came there on wagon trains. But don't worry, he'll shut down, and then he'll show that lazy freeloader. And then who can pay the taxes to all the BLM and their little army outfits who can't wait to have a war with the Tea Party? They're all so tough, They're all big, tough commandos. By the way, there's a video up on Infowars.com, and DrudgeReport.com is linked to the story from yesterday. In the middle column, churches caught shipping illegals into the country. And I saw some of the trolls in the comments saying it wasn't true and stuff, and our story got picked up by hundreds of other publications, and I went and looked at some of those. And the talking point is, oh, these are just kids that got off buses and teenagers and their moms and babies, and so the churches wait at the border to be nice. No, we went and found the churches' public statements, the Catholic churches, the evangelical churches, all Democratic Party front groups, 501c3, getting taxpayer money and getting Ford Foundation money in their own words to stage the illegals coming in and the Border Patrol being told to stand down. And guess what the Border Patrol did? They came over and got in our reporters' faces yesterday. And so that's the big news. And our guys shot a report about it. So we've got them coming up in the 3rd hour. They're going to have that video. Jakari mentions it in another report talking about Border Patrol powerless. And that's interesting. But the headline is Border Patrol tries to stop press from reporting on collapsed border. Because that's what happened. I've talked to them. But that's how nice my reporters are. Oh, really? We're being harassed by the Border Patrol. Literally down there showing the illegals being let in. Of course. The press is the enemy in something like this. And I'm not trying to get in a fight with the Border Patrol, but you've got a bunch of political people in the Border Patrol now. The head of it and people are former Ford Foundation heads who've sworn to destroy this country. And so they're following orders to change diapers, heat up milk for the babies, get them on the buses, and get them deeper into the U.S., where they promptly become citizens. And Obama, I'm going to cover this after the break, is running around honoring illegal immigrant children this week. That's to encourage them up here. And then acting like, oh, we don't know why there's a flood. And now that the word's here that you get here, everything's free. I've got articles coming up. I'll show you photos in mainstream news of like women with babies hanging off of them. Totally dependent. I mean, the country is being sunk. I've studied military history, folks, but anybody can figure this out. When they turn off half the power plants in the country, as they're now doing, They've shut a third of them down. They're shutting down the other two-thirds of that 50% they swore to do. That's a military attack. It'll cost money for everything else you do, like meat that's exploding. When they ship your jobs overseas with incentives where it's impossible to have a factory here in the U.S. unless you're an insider, that's called deindustrialization, economic warfare. When you ship in tens of millions of illegals to get freebies and to vote to take the rights of the people, that's an economic takeover. This is a military takeover. They use al-Qaeda to take down Iraq or take down Libya or Syria. They use economic warfare on us. And people that understand it can thrive in this environment, but most people can't. Most people are caught flat-footed, and they're bringing us down right now. What comes next to get us behind the government? Nukes going off. Airplanes being shot down. Remember what Obama said after I warned? His main fear is a nuke going off in New York.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. It took me 20 years of searching the globe to find the deposit of the highest purity iodine available. The new Survival Shield X2 is mined from 7,000 to 10,000 feet below the earth in pristine, environmentally clean conditions. The iodine crystals we use are extracted from an ancient 300 million plus year old deposit deep in the earth. It's the strongest nascent iodine on the market today. It delivers 650 micrograms per drop. Experience the new formula. Experience the ancient purity. Shield your family. Survival Shield X2, available now at InfoWarsLife.com.
X2 from InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. So I want to open the phones up about ISIS and the globalist shadow army descending over the Middle East, engaging in extermination of Christians everywhere, which is the stated goal of the so-called leftists that run our government, who aren't real leftists. I know plenty of hippies, plenty of folks that are into organic food that are wonderful, great people. You know, they're buying milk from the Amish and care about freedom and own guns. There's like a hippie Texan type that is great people. But the globalists pose as trendy hippies and as, quote, you know, progressive loving people when they are nothing but a group of social engineering tyrants who are a totally parasitic group. Now, I want to get into all the articles that are up on Infowars.com and take your calls on ISIS and what's happening over there and the demonization of the Iraqi government on all the channels. Well, he's a bad guy. He didn't include people. So it's good to have an army out of Saudi Arabia that massed in controlled areas of Jordan and Syria come in and murder everybody. And Fareed Zakaria was smiling. He's so evil looking. Smiling and giggling about it, getting off on the power, like Hillary going, I came, I saw, he died. If some commando would have broken Gaddafi's neck, there's a military code with real killers that they don't brag about it. A, it's bad luck. B, it's unseemly. C, you don't want folks coming after you because you've killed people. D, when you're a tough guy and people know it, other tough guys want to fight you. I can keep going on the list of why no one in history gets up on TV or in newspapers or in print or on a speech that says, I killed Gaddafi. And it's some ugly, crone, evil woman who didn't do jack crap, who lied about herself being in an aircraft shot up over Serbia. Remember that, Loadable? They were sitting on flak jackets as they flew into the combat zone. I've got a cousin who's been in the military 31 years, and I asked him, he's been over 20 combat tours. He won't tell you anything. No stories, no nothing. Except about people burning up their own kids and stuff and why he hates Al-Qaeda type people so much. And then meanwhile, you got Hillary Clinton talking about how tough she is. I mean, this is a joke, ladies and gentlemen. So that's all coming up. Up on Infowars.com, established church groups aiding illegal immigrant invasion of U.S. Paul Watson, Alex Jones article, proving the article that's up on DrudgeReport.com, where we show the church admitting they're shipping them in. But this is in their own words in mainstream news the last 3 years saying this was the plan. This is a concerted nationwide plan on record to totally take down the country. Paul Watson and I prove it in this key article, red linked on Infowars.com. Largest gas pipeline serving Europe, that's to make Europe buy globalist gas, blows up in Ukraine. World War III starting, folks. It's proxy wars. What's wrong with these two headlines? Cop punches woman in the stomach, crowd outraged. It's all coming up in the next hour. I'm going to get into all of it and take your phone calls. Or ISIS, that is an al-Qaeda Saudi Arabian military, that's admitted they've got heat-seeking missiles, Stinger missiles given to them by the globalist, by the CIA, by British intelligence, by Turkish intelligence, by Saudi Arabian operations to destabilize the whole area. And they're now saying they got to take our rights on the news. America will be hit by ISIS. And the neocons are all very proud of themselves, knowing how stupid the public is, going, see, we've got to take your rights now, when they run the army doing this. And it doesn't mean this army won't kill U.S. soldiers. Oh, of course. It's like in Braveheart, which is based on a true story. Those battles really happened, where Longshanks, the king, says, fire with archers into the whole army fighting. He goes, sir, but there's a battle. We'll kill our people. And he goes, we'll get some of theirs too. It's about getting everybody. So here's Jakari Jackson's report, and the Border Patrol followed him around and harassed him instead of doing something about the illegals. Here it is.
This is Jakari Jackson for Infowars.com. We're on the Texas-Mexico border investigating what could be considered an invasion of the United States of America by Central American immigrants. You say, well, maybe invasion is too strong of a word. Well, let's take a look at some of these words from the Border Patrol agents themselves. We have this article, ex-Border Patrol agents, immigrant flood orchestrated. And in this article, these Border Patrol agents, they're talking about how this is a very intentional thing done by the Obama administration, preying on the well-meaning good wishes of the American people. Because you have church groups and other people that pick up these people at the bus stations. They give them a hot bath, they give them a hot meal, then loose them back onto the streets of America. But you have to consider that many of the people that are coming here, this has been reported in Breitbart, are gang affiliated. These are people sometimes who have diseases, and they're coming here to the United States of America, not as if we don't have our own health concerns and also safety risk with the gangs we already have here in the States. And the thing that concerns me about this is because we see Border Patrol agents, and they're concerned about what we're doing as journalists, not concerned so much about what the illegal immigrants are doing. And I'm saying to these guys, you know, if you really want to catch these illegal immigrants, why are you out here worrying about what we're doing? Why don't you go to some of these army bases, some of these other facilities that are housing these people illegally? We see, for example, back in 2009, a California county spent $64 million providing welfare assistance to these illegal immigrants. So this is very much a financial concern, not just the safety risk of gangs or the health risk of the diseases, but now you have another concern as well. So this is something that we've been documenting for a while now. As you recall, last week, Kit Daniels and also Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs, they were investigating why military bases are in on this action, because we have military veterans who are homeless, who cannot receive health care at the VA or get the things that they need at the VA. And now we're bringing in other people when we can't even fulfill the needs of the people right here in our own country. So stay tuned to Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.tv for more reports, and we'll be bringing you more from the border here in South Texas.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to have the guys just stay there basically all week. I mean, if they're up for it, and they always are, I think they should stay till Friday. And boy, they're getting whistleblower ICE people, Border Patrol. They're getting all sorts of stuff that is unbelievable to actually see it. And those reports are going to be getting filed over the next few days at Infowars.com, at PrisonPlanet.com. And if you go up to Infowars.com, it's proof. We have their own admissions and the video, and the church is admitting it. It is an orchestrated, planned program. The Border Patrol doesn't stop the buses. The buses are brought in. The men, women, and children are brought by orders of Obama and shipped in total felonies. Each action confirmed with the quotes by the churches. For all of those on or behind the lines, this song is for you. And then they had an old promo on Genesis about 18 years ago. We ought to find that, where it then came in with the music and my voice. So that's why we have those liners the last decade or so, that one you just heard, where we say from deep behind enemy lines, we are in occupied FEMA Region 6, New World Order corporate control system. Anti-free market, anti-family. anti-freedom. They want total monopoly, a total plastic synthetic culture, so that we'll be pliably, incrementally reduced as the age of the machines rises towards the age of the transhumanist, in their own words, in quadruplicate. And they're following their plan. How do I know what they're going to do next? They think you're so stupid, they've admitted their whole plan. I remember 3 years ago, the headline in Council on Foreign Relations, why we need al-Qaeda, and how they're great fighters doing a great job against Assad, and how they can use them all over the Middle East. And just because they can sit back and go, you know, we use al-Qaeda to make states be pliant for the greater good for America. Think about how evil that is. We'll make Assad or Iraq or anybody behave by bringing al-Qaeda in. Now, there's the headline. CFR strategist praises al-Qaeda bombings in Syria. And that's an Infowars.com article with a direct link to the Council on Foreign Relations white paper. And again, it was 2012, so that was two and a half years ago. The point is, then we have Hillary Clinton welcoming it in a clip. And that's because they know the general public doesn't know the difference between al-Qaeda and Shiite. Sunni versus Shia. They don't know anything, so they're doomed. The people perish for lack of knowledge. Jesus Christ said that. And it's very frustrating to know the players, to know the plan, to see it going on. And then to now, because they can't hide it, watch CNN. I watched it last night and this morning, just going, yeah, you know, maybe al-Qaeda's got a point. Or ISIS. They don't call it al-Qaeda. ISIS. When it's al-Qaeda, the Black Flag, Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's al-Qaeda's daddy. It's worse than al-Qaeda. In fact, there's even articles going, well, this group is worse than al-Qaeda, but they're good. And then when I fly, they want me to go in a naked body scanner, and they want to grab my genitals, all to train me publicly to be a slave. It has nothing to do with any of this. And now, and I'm going to your phone calls, we told you this 100 times if we told you once. For 3 years. Before Benghazi happened. I said they're going to give Stinger missiles to al-Qaeda and to Wahhabists, and because that gives the West plausible deniability. Saudi Arabia has their agents, give it to their agents, give it to their jihad armies with 10 levels of separation. They then are allowed into the United States, just like 15 of the 19 reported hijackers. I've had the former head of the embassy visa section, Springman, on the show repeatedly. And he's been in mainstream news saying, we said, you guys are al-Qaeda terrorists, and the CIA called them up and said, national security, their terror designation is a cover. They are CIA agents, not operatives, agents. Muhammad Atta and others were trained at U.S. military bases. That's mainstream news. Remember, it came out, the head of the Defense Language School went, 4 of the hijackers were trained in my class for a year. Those guys on the news, I know them. I've had lunch with them. Alex Jones is a traitor that says the police blew up the World Trade Centers. I never said that. Yeah, the firefighters did it. The New Yorkers did it, he says. He says it's an inside job, and Bush had a plunger like Wile E. Coyote. That's to quote Chris Matthews. No, I said Saudi Arabia has got sheep-dipped commandos, they call them al-Qaeda, who will kill themselves attacking this country in order to do so. And then our government gets to take all of our rights away. It's 2 + 2 = 4. It is a simple equation. Where are the apologies from Sean Hannity? From Glenn Beck? From all of them. 0 apologies. The only person, I guess, who's a professor and got like 4 degrees and a best-selling author, so I guess he is Dr. Savage. Savage has always pointed out that the West is funding al-Qaeda and letting them attack. And he talks about false flag because anyone who's informed says that. 2 people talk about false flags, Alex Jones, Michael Savage. Believe me, all the others know all about it, ladies and gentlemen. They just won't tell you about it. They go, Alex says there's no Muslim extremist, and he wants to be with the jihadis. No. It's the opposite. I'm saying don't arm them. I'm saying they are a threat. I'm saying it's a threat to take my liberties. And to have trillions of dollars every few years in no-bid contracts to consolidate control in this country, militarize the police. And I told you over a decade ago, they would then flip when they prepare the revolution against the American people. Homeland security from Al-Qaeda onto the liberty movement, the Patriots, which they call the Tea Party now. And it all happened because it's simple, geopolitical, three-dimensional chess strategy. I know the gambits, I know the stratagems, I know the entire enemy program in a 3D map in my mind that God gave me, just like you would have it if you studied all the players. Listen, adult men have fantasy football. They know where some football player went to high school. They know the guy's wife's name. They know all the baseball scores. They can go and tell you what play a coach is about to play. I've seen it with friends of mine. Before that team goes, oh my gosh, watch this. The Cowboys are going to do this, or the 49ers are going to do this, or the Cardinals are going to do this, and you watch and they do it. And I go, my God, if you just use that brain in business or life, if you just use that for real stuff, see. They've got all these adults with fake, synthetic, artificial reality, artificial consciousness lives where they pay money to get a Lamborghini in a fictional world, hundreds of dollars, where you pay to get a supermodel girlfriend. So you're at home and never really compete in the world. They got all these complex board games that are fine if you play them once a month. I play some with my kids. Action adventure games, you know, space games. It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but it's like sci-fi or whatever, you know, so it's not occultic. Star Trek games, Star Wars games. But to really get into it, you got to learn all the players, and it's complex. And your brain's designed that if you get into something with strategy, you start liking it. But I go, wait a minute. I don't want to waste 8 hours playing this game. See, because that takes up all my synapses, all my connections to war game reality. And what I'm saying is so incredibly simple. That's the thing. It's not my opinion. You don't have to believe me. You can go out and verify that they put hydrofluorosilicic acid, a.k.a. electrified, ionized, supercharged chemical warfare in your water. They brag they're doing it to brain damage you and your family. They brag they're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. They're time released. They brag. On every front, I'm telling you, it's public. It's public. It's public. The average lawyer, the average police officer, even the average social worker, the average person in the bureaucracy is not bad. But they're compartmentalized in their little niche, following the niche program they get from the publications and things they follow, and they don't have full spectrum analysis of the larger system outside the dome. It's like THX 1138 with Robert Duvall, directed by the great, and he was great in his earlier films, George Lucas. And in THX 1138, a remake of his college film, his college graduation film, Robert Duvall breaks through to the surface of the underground technocracy base, and it's, you know, the sun in the sky, and he's in the mountains. And, of course, he's given interviews saying this was the plan they were told about in the 60s when Aldous Huxley came and spoke at the college he was at. That Jim Morrison was also attending simultaneously, along with a bunch of other famous people. And they were given the inside track, and they've all talked about it. So that's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. And you better find out about it. I have come out of the cave in Plato's allegory. I have come out to the surface, okay? And I want you to join me on the surface. It doesn't mean I have all the answers. It doesn't mean the surface is perfect. It doesn't mean there aren't other boxes to come out of, other levels. But let me tell you, I'm not in the level the general public is in. I have transcended this stuff. You know, FBI shows up and is trying to intimidate me or getting in my face, asking me questions. I don't even laugh at them anymore. I feel sorry for them. I look at a programmed biological android in their own little cult, their own little group, just like organized crime. They go on vacations together. They believe the propaganda their whole life. They're just sitting here on an errand to follow orders. And I just think about how many, I think this guy will be dead within 10 years. You can tell they give him a lot of vaccines. He's probably got all the RNA plugged into his DNA. Yeah, I bet he's got a mentally retarded kid at home. God, I bet he follows the whole system. And I bet, yeah. I bet he's been divorced. I bet he can't even pay his bills. Yeah, that's why most of them turn to corruption. Yeah, he's walking dead. Feel sorry for him. And it's not that I'm on a power trip, folks. I am literally outside the bubble watching it all go on, but I'm within the bubble. So it's really become a joke to know about human programming that the elite know about. You can walk up to the most beautiful woman out there most of the time and say something insulting to them, just like the pickup lines, just like all the guys say in the pickup books, but you got to have the right, confidence and attitude. And it's just ridiculous, like punching buttons. Now, not all women are like that. The women I'm looking for in life, is like my wife, are the type of folks that aren't programmable, that aren't stupid. Because that's the sort of person you want to have kids with, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't want to be a biological android that's just programmable. Now, I got all the immigration news coming up. It's off the chart. New Michelle Obama news, a ton of news. But I'm going right to your calls when we come back from break.
You are watching the best of the Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of InfoWarsNews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.